Alrighty, friends, welcome to the Manga Monkey. This is my first video for the Manga Monkey channel. Here we are gonna review some manga. As you see with my Funko Pop behind me, I'm a cool, super cool anime guy. Cool anime guys have Funko Pop, right? But I also really like collecting manga. Just recently started collecting manga. I've read manga for years and years now, but I've always read it online. Maybe little pirate hat, maybe not the most legal ways for a lot of it. And recently I've decided to start collecting manga. I've been collecting One Piece over the past year, but the past about 4 months or so. So I want to start reading other stuff, reading stuff on paper for the very first time. So I've been reading it in paper, just having the volume there as art is intended. I feel like is so much better. I've really been enjoying starting to read series for the first time. Series I've never read before, been interested in. I've never even read digitally. Just been reading physically. So I kind of want to start talking about manga. So let's talk about some manga. I'll show off the Manga Shelf here, since I don't have a good way to really show it right now. Here is the Manga Shelf and Light Novel Shelf. I guess this is the only light novels that I have. Are the Rascal ones. We got Rent a Girlfriend, Horimiya there. Something's missing. What's that missing there? What are we talking about? We got more stuff there. We're kind of how it is right now. It's still a small collection. There's all One Piece. One Piece is a big collection. It's on the shelf, not within webcam range. So, but what's missing? I mean, why am I doing this? It's the title of the video. It's Chainsaw Man. As you can see from the shelf, there's a couple of volumes missing. I'm just going to cover the first 5 volumes. I might want to talk about the series a bit, so I decided to just the first 5 volumes. I wanted to finish the Blade Demon saga. Let's talk about the man himself, the man on the cover, the Chainsaw Man, Denji. Denji's awesome. I actually like him a lot more than I expected. There was a meme going around that the I want to touch boobies picture. And I didn't really like that. I don't like those kind of characters that are just super perverted. Not a big fan. Don't like Sanji from One Piece. Just never been a fan, especially this is a leading character to deal with that all the time. But it works. Part of the reason why it works for me is, he's charming. He's just kind of charming. He's very dumb, but he's very innocent. He had his background. I think is a big part of why this works, because he just had nothing. He was basically an orphan when he was really young and indebted to the mafia, the Yakuza. So he'd just been living in debt his whole life, living off just bread and nothing, no friends, no schooling. And so he has this super childlike innocence, and then now he's got things. He's got food, he's got women, and he's got his opportunities. Someone who had nothing, and he was 16, he had all these hormones. It makes sense to me that why he's just so focused on these very simple, basic things, because he'd never had those. So there's want for that at his age is amplified, 100 times. So I think he's written really well. I like his relationship with Power. They're both really dumb, and their goofy dumbness just works together super well. The main trio with Aki is just really fun. Aki works pretty well as a foil to Denki, or Denji. Wrong series. They're the kind of good cop, bad cop, straight guy thing. Straight guy, wacky guy. It works really well. And freaking Makima is terrifying. I like her. But she is absolutely terrifying. And massive spoilers ahead. I really like how the series handles death. The first beginning volumes is really just introducing a bunch of characters. You're getting a lot of characters, but at a reasonable pace. It doesn't feel anything too overwhelming. But especially by by volume 5 or the end of 4, they're throwing in a lot of characters. But they handles death really well. I like something like Akame ga Kill, which I liked, but admittedly it did not handle death very well. It just had so many characters, and it was really obvious when it was going to kill somebody. It just had the backstory and given too much focus. This, I feel like it's super, just kind of happens. It just feels very natural. This world is gross and dirty and violent, and this kind of series needs death. It was shown in Jump, so I wasn't sure it was going to have death. So the first death threw me off a lot. But it does it. I feel like it does it right. It's not throwing in your face. It's not like, haha, we're cool, we kill characters. But it still is not afraid to kill characters, and the manner it does it again isn't very obvious. It's just it does it when it needs to, and I think it's very good for it. The other thing that I really like about the series, something that's very obvious is the art. Art's freaking awesome. It's very distinct. You open a random page, you see a random character, you're gonna know it's Chainsaw Man. I love that. I love about One Piece. I love about all of like Mashima's stuff. I love unique, obvious art styles and artwork. I think it just works really well. It's just a joy to look at, and he handles things very well. Tatsuki Fujimoto is brilliant at paneling. Something I heard before reading the series, something I can see why. Obviously, a lot of times he's just doing normal, generic panels because you need to, for storytelling, you can't be wacky and creative all the time. That would just not read well. But there's some panels that are just really, really cool. One thing that I am particularly thinking about in these first 5 volumes is there's a scene where Aki pulls out the special sword and gets kind of outwardly power, mystical, magical power, more than like anything we've seen in the series so far. And the finger of this power that comes and helps him actually reaches. They cut the panel short, so it reaches from off the panel and into, or reaches from out of the panel into the panel to help. And it just feels like it's coming out of, literally coming out of this world because it doesn't start in the panel, so it's out of the panel. I think it's really impressive and just stuff like that. There's some cooler ones later down the line I'll talk about in the next review. But he's just really creative with his paneling, and his drawings are really cool. And the final thing that I want to make that I've really seen anybody talk about, the few YouTubers I have seen cover this, is one thing I honestly would compare it to is Dragon Ball. I know this may sound kind of weird, especially in the later volumes, but I don't know. The way the arcs are structured, there's only one big bad guy, and the whole team's got to come together. You see almost everybody encounter this big bad guy, and they've got to figure out a way to take him down. Like, a whole cast versus one big bad is really nothing I've seen since besides Dragon Ball. Like, there is very few side villains. Each storylines has their kind of main villain, and that shifts and changes. But generally, that's kind of how it's approached. And honestly, it reminds me of just violent, gory Dragon Ball. The series is very sexualized, very violent, very gory. It's a little gross. There's some stuff with vomit, and I'm not a huge fan of, but it fits the world. Yeah, Chainsaw Man is a huge recommendation for me. Anime is coming out soon. You could check that out. I would personally just read the manga. I like always get the source material. Who knows the quality of anime, but it looks good. But yeah, if you want me to talk more Chainsaw Man, I think I will. But I will get more in depth on certain things. But here's just kind of a brief thoughts and quick thoughts, and we'll do videos like this for all the other manga I showed on the shelf. We'll see you next time.